Alright guys, Red here. This is the ops deck for the Reds Resort HQ. This is my own personal corner of the world. Over here we've got the long range scanner that we use for gathering intel and plotting navigation routes through the system. Under that we've got the quartermaster. This guy prints and presses all the uniforms that you guys can buy in the description if you're that way inclined. Over here we have the Nexus. Yeah, I know. She is looking very worse for wear. She's taken on that dignified Amiga yellow coloration as she's matured in age. On the upside though, she still has a few horses left in her. 32GB of RAM, 8700K, 2080 Ti, but she is needing a bit of love, you know. At the very least a new case. Don't you listen to them, wee lamb. You're still relevant. Anyway, let's get into the meat of this video. We're going to go over my setup specifically for Star Citizen, what binds and access and any other things I use to get the job done in the most efficient and accessible way possible. We've got a Cloud X here, we've got a cheap blue Snowball here. For head tracking we use the PS3i camera, and that talks to this thing here, which is basically just Track IR, but it's from a company called TrackHat. It's from a company called TrackHat, and you know, it's relatively cheap. It's just 3D printed, but it's fast and it's wireless, and it does what it says on the tin. Everything else is pretty standard stuff. That's an old an old Samsung 4K TV. That's a 1080p monitor, and everything else we'll get to as we come along. I'm going to start on the right side here and just go through all the binds that I use quite quickly and explain why I've done things a certain way if it needs explained. Computer, turn on plug 1. So that'll basically just turn on the mouse mat and the second monitor and start charging these tablets and phones and stuff that are lying around.
Did you mean TV?
Shh. Right, before I start, this light, I got that from a friend. It makes a lot of noise. I might have to either stop the recording or just power through it when the fan kicks in. Pain in the ass. Anyway, this top right two-way here, this is switch missile type. This pins a target. So say you go into a bounty situation, there's lots of targets. Before the fighting kicks off, you can pin the primary target to here, and then you can try and kill them all, say, and if that doesn't go too well and you're getting your ass kicked, you can just hold this and it will select the primary target or whatever pin 1 was, and you could just try and kill them and get out of there before you die. Left is cycle subsystem, so thrusters and internal ship components, you can target them. Right is cycle hostile targets. I never really use this much. I tend to just pick targets with the head tracking and lock them by clicking this in. Down will unlock the target. This is change lead lag reticule for combat. It's kind of handy sometimes if you're in a situation where you're going a certain speed and vector that you can't actually see your target, you can only just see the box. Then you can hit that and then you might be able to get your target back in your view so you can see which way they're vectoring and stuff. This goes into missile mode. It turns red just to keep you aware of the situation. This is the power triangle, so tap is it will increase it and hold will put it to maximum, so weapons, power, shields, and down to equalize. Clicking this in will change to staggered fire, and that basically just prolongs the fire on the target and doesn't empty your capacitor as quickly. Mouse wheel is the mounting missiles, and click we'll reset that. This four-way here, this is flare, down is chaff, and click is the vehicle horn. The pinky slider. Ah, right, so the pinky slider. The pinky slider is forward thrust. I know. This is the only drawback and one of the worst weak points of this entire cockpit. Pinky triggers are thrust forward and thrust backward. And strafe up and down, that's strafe down and that's strafe up. And there's a very important reason for that. So usually with the HOSAS, pushing forward and back is reverse and forward is forward. And that's pretty comfy and intuitive. However, when it comes to dogfighting and racing and most manoeuvre related activities, having a longer throw and therefore more control over the vertical thrust is a massive advantage. It means I can nose onto the target easier and with more precision. It means I have more control over the second highest thruster range in the game, which is your bottom thrusters. So having that granularity on the vertical means I can just get my nose on the target that bit faster, keep it there for longer. It was an absolute nightmare to get used to and, you know, to rewire my brain, but it's already paying massive dividends. However, it's at the expense of forward and back thrust. The eventual plan is to get, you know, a set of pedals under there, and then the rig will be complete. But until then, this gives me enough control that I can still do all the things that I want. I will say that if I did have forward and backwards here, you know, on the main sort of axis, I would probably never need to use the speed limiter because of the range that it covers. But the pinky triggers plus the speed limiter is perfect for now. Just not as good as I'd like. The trade-off though is definitely worth it, in my opinion. Right, so the second trigger, this one here, that is fire group 2, and it also activates scanning. Separating the two fire groups was another big debate I had with myself. You want to be able to control them individually, say ballistic and lasers on separate channels, but at the same time you want to be able to just blast everything you've got with one button. And the game sort of gives you binds to do that. You've got a few options for trigger pulls here. You could have like fire group 2 on here and fire group 1 on here, and obviously if you pull them both you fire everything, right? You could also have something here and then something here on that second stage, but then you'd need to go through 3 to get to it every time. And pulling 2 and then 3 is, it's okay, but it's just uncomfortable enough to be sort of off-putting. And while that's there, going between these two it's just a nightmare, because you're going to end up hitting that out and then you need to find it again. So it's not ideal. And the option of having 4 as well as a fire all, like fire 1, fire 2 and fire all, it isn't that great either, because when you're in a stressful situation you're gonna hit that second stage by accident all the time. And that also, you know, you could have EMPs as your second stage as well, and that's just not great. So after long consideration, what ended up happening was second stage here is fire group 1 and that's fire group 2, and if you need to group any weapons then you do it via MFDs. It's a bit of a shame having all these triggers and not being able to implement them in a meaningful way, but this was the only thing to keep things both accessible and effective. More fire groups is what's really needed here, but you know, it is what it is. So first trigger pull is also mining laser and toggle desired impact point for bombs. The second stage is fire weapons group 1 and launch missiles. Forward and back axis is pitch, sides is roll, twist is yaw. Okay, onto the left stick, this two-way hat up here, up is cruise control and down is lock, pitch and yaw. Four-way hat, up is VTOL, down is landing gear, left is switch mining laser and right is toggle mining mode. Click is to cycle the flight surfaces, you know, for like the Hully or the Scorpius or whatever. Red button enables decoupled mode, changes to red as well just to let you know that you're in decoupled mode. Black button toggles the speed limiter, so you know you could have your speed limiter set using this sets whatever your speed limiter is. You can just switch in and out of that using this button here. This four-way hat up toggles the quantum drive, hold engages the jump. There's that light starting up again. Down is request landing and takeoff, click is a radar ping, left is map and right is lights. Also on this, if you click that in, that resets the speed limiter to SCM speed. The mouse wheel is increase and decrease radar angle. The pinky trigger is reverse thrust, we've been through that. The main trigger, first pull, is boost. Now, I spent a lot of time on what that button should be, and to be honest, there was a point where this trigger was a shift, and when you clicked it, it unlocked this twist here, right? And twist, like virtually, I mean, in the Virpil software. So this didn't exist until you held in this trigger, and when you did, it unlocked that, and you could do that for boost and that for space brake with boost, and it was, oh my god, it was glorious, right? It just felt amazing, like coming in just being like, boost, yes, full boost enabled, like a motorbike basically. It was awesome. But when you're, say I want to go down, right, or up, you naturally want to twist this a bit when you do it. Like that's, I'm twisted, like that's natural, that's it twisted. And when I pull that back, it naturally twists forward a bit. And it twists up when you do it forward. And it was just impossible, and it made things too complicated. Eventually just had to give up on it because I just couldn't get used to it. It felt so good, but eventually just boost button, there you go. And there's not even a brake anymore, there's not a space brake. I don't really use space brake, uses boost anyway, but I was going to use it for that. But instead, now if you want to boost brake, you hold reverse and boost. So just save the whole ass bind in there. A few things on this throttle are set as well. This is self-destruct. This is jettison. This is toggle systems on and off. And this is reset shields. We'll come to that and this now. So this is weapons, power, shields on, weapon, power, shields off. So in a normal boot up sequence I would go on, and then that would put on all the MFD's displays. So cool, I love it, it's perfect. Down here, click that to enable scanning mode. You click the second trigger here to actually scan, but this increases the, what do you call it, the scanning angle, and this increases the bomb HUD range. Click resets it. On the white buttons we've got 3 mining modules and enter turret 1, 2 and 3. Blue is match target velocity, toggle auto land, invoke docking and toggle docking mode. I've just done that wrong. I can't remember what these are. I never use these anyway. Green is open all doors, close all doors, unlock all doors, lock all doors. Red is increase and decrease coolers, that's never been used. And yellow is like shields, so forward, back, left, right, top, bottom, and that's to reset there. This axis here is a turret speed control. It can also be a secondary speed limiter. The middle axis is mining laser power. So a bit overkill, you could say. And this thing here, this is called Matric. It's a couple of quid, maybe about a £5 or something when I bought it, I think. And it's just a bit of software basically that runs on your PC and translates, you know, taps on it to actual button presses. Like that's contact ATC, dot land, hail target, chat, channel, accept, Spotify controls. This is my camera controls here, so I've got advanced cam, free cam, move in and out, left and right, depth of field. This is field of view, you get the idea. This actually controls the camera. There's a trackpad there. It's pretty cool. This opens websites. I think that's like Airco Games. Yep, that's Airco. And there's other ones as well. Can't even remember what it is. It's prices, ships and stuff. This will be your comms. This will be Mobiglass. This will be the map. This is a beacon. Put a beacon up. Record last 5 minutes. That's not even in focus. Proximity chat, record. What does that do? Well, that's for voice attack. Disable voice attack. That's head tracking. Inventory. Eject, jettison. This changes your 0 on your weapons. This is like the saved views for your camera. So you can save a view in each one of these, and if you click each one of these, it should, yeah. You get the idea. That'll take you to robertspaceindustries.com in case you're feeling a bit flush, want to buy a ship. Drop, inspect, customize weapon, fire attachment, fire mode. This takes you to the emote page. All the emotes on there. Equip helmet, white visor. This used to be my main system on. These are actually, like, I designed this myself. You can download community decks and you can upload your own. So I made this myself. These are like things that I made out of CAD or 3D printing designs, and I just shaded them myself. So like, it's like a little flippy button, like just like a 2-3 stage animation there. They all sort of do something like. They used to make button noises as well, but late at night it started to be a pain in the ass, so I turned them off. I think that's everything. That is the entire setup. And that's it, guys. If you have any suggestions for improvements to this, or any questions about this, I would be more than happy to hear them. Definitely. And that's it, really. It's the result of quite a lot of hours, hard work, and figuring things out and testing things. But you know, I'm pretty proud of it. Pretty happy with how it's coming along. Pedals will definitely top it off. And that's it, really. Thanks for watching 07. It's okay. They know about the Patreon account, don't worry. They know. It's okay.